Giants fans, welcome to Big Blue All Day, the podcast that brings you New York Giants football content all day long, while the hosts toe tap the line between podcast professionals and a bunch of fanatics talking shit at the end of the bar. Tonight's episode of Big Blue All Day is not brought to you by anyone. Insert sponsor here. Don't forget to check out our print content at bigblueallday.com and rate and subscribe wherever podcasts are found. There's adult content ahead because you know we're doing it live. Roadhouse is here in the power chair, sitting in for Mac. On the line, we have the Disciple, another guest spot from Rodway Tommy.
We are back! We are back!
Ravens come up to Jersey, and we walk out 5-1. Disciple, let it rip.
The vibes during that fourth quarter were insane. I happened to be in the building. I did feel kind of down. I think they were down 13 points in the fourth quarter, or in the second half. And I was like thinking about it. I was like, man, even if we walk out here 4-2, like I'm still feeling pretty good. But the fact that they really put some great drives together, some good scoring drives, and won the game, defensive stops. You really gotta love what you see. We're a second half team, and that's better than being a first half team. Actually, I read somewhere today that Daniel Jones is like the best second half quarterback out of all of them in terms of efficiency and EPA. If you're into that analytical bullshit.
No, it's crazy because we've always talked about how they need to get it. They're not a team that's built to come from behind, but that's what they've done all season. That's
the only thing they're like, dude. It's never easy.
Like
except
who comes
for the Bears
back,
game, yeah.
Who comes back from a deficit by running the ball? It's crazy.
No, it's just like the efficiency. Everything is just so like every detail, every person is accounted for. It's like this crazy system, man. It's like, we have not seen coaching like this in a long time. I'm so thankful because this, even if they collapse and they don't make the playoffs, which now I believe they're minus 225 according to the sports books to make the playoffs, which is a really pretty good number. So, even if that's the case, I still like the direction we're headed. Obviously, it feels great to have a winning percentage of, 820, 830 something. Like
It's still early. All right, Tommy, what'd you think?
I've never been happier to get a pick wrong for a Giants game. I never go against them. I go against them and they win. It was a great Sunday here in Jersey. Saquon continued to look great. But what I was most happy about was the kids. Bellinger, Wan'Dale Robinson, Thibodeau, and even Neal, who he only had one Harry and no sacks on Sunday. The previous 5 games, he gave up a sack each week. So he really started to look good. The secondary, Love, Melton, Moreau. We knew Andrews was going to put up some numbers, but other than that, statistically, the Ravens were pretty quiet on offense, even with Lamar having about 75 yards rushing on the day. He really didn't beat you up with the ball, running the ball. You kind of hear, the Ravens gave away the game. They gave the Giants the game.
No, we took the game.
But good teams
exactly.
Take it. They finish where in the past the Giants had opportunities in years past and they don't capitalize.
And they lay down and die. How many? Even like last year, like you saw the Adoree Jackson drop pick. You had the drop Darius Slayton, the offsides on the kick. I mean, they just found ways to lose, and now it's the total opposite, man.
So we took the game. We capitalized on mistakes and second chances, and we did that throughout the day on Sunday.
No, that's what's crazy about it. So they played so well in the red zone, and they played so well at critical times.
And third down.
7 for 14 on third down.
However, but as I wrote in the article on bigblueallday.com, the Ravens they had 406 total yards of offense. Giants only had 238.
I don't care. The scoreboard is what matters.
No, I totally agree. But that's the difference between winning and losing. And that's what the Giants didn't do in the last few years. Is they may have been able to amass yards and decent drives and have decent play, but those red zone plays, that Wan'Dale Robinson touchdown.
Oh, the Bellinger,
under Jason Garrett, or
they don't sniff the end zone with Jason Garrett.
They would have ran the ball up the middle twice and then thrown a lob in the back corner.
No, they would have done a tight end screen to Evan Ingram. Oh man, dude, it's honestly like it's crazy because like the guys that we were like we weren't sure with Dave Gettleman. It's like some of them guys are really coming out. You know, it's like maybe Gettleman wasn't that bad at picking the players. He was just a terrible person. Like, you know, not a terrible person like that, but like you know what I mean. Like to deal with other people. Obviously, he wasn't everybody's cup of tea, and he hired 2 bad coaches. So that's his fatal mistake. Maybe he chose the right quarterback. I still don't know. But he got the left tackle.
We'll come back to the quarterback in a minute. But so listen, I think we're all thrilled to be 5-1. No one expected that. Beating the last, back-to-back MVPs 2 weeks in a row. It's saying something. But and listen, I'm not winning is the only measure. But let's be honest. Your leading receiver is Bellinger, 5 receptions, 38 yards. Your second is Wan'Dale Robinson, 2 rookies, 3 for 37 yards.
Each had a touchdown.
This is a team that's still in progress.
No, nobody's doubting that.
Well, I want Giants fans to remember that because you know how some get overexcited. Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. Oh, our power ranking is 5. Like we're the fifth
Which is insane, by the way. But
yeah.
honestly, it's so hard to believe.
What I'm just saying is, pump the brakes. This
No,
team is good. We're happy.
we still need that
thrilled.
bona fide number 1 wide receiver, and we hope Tony can be that guy, but we can't depend on him. So we got to take what we got. We got to, dude, guys are stepping up and not dropping balls. You had Darius Slayton last week. I didn't see too much. Was Slayton on the field a lot?
Well,
yesterday?
Slayton had one. He had one big catch for 18 yards, but he also had that big pass interference in the end zone.
Yeah, that's very true.
Which,
I forgot about
frankly,
that.
I don't know if that was a catchable ball, but nevertheless, there was still a big play for Slayton.
I don't think we're gonna be like a really like contender. Like they might be a wild card, be one and done, maybe fuck around and win a playoff game. I don't know, but at the same time, I just feel like they're not gonna be able to win a 35-38 game with what they've got.
For that, you need a franchise quarterback, and with that, we're gonna move smoothly into our weekly segment, the Daniel Jones Court. Now, Jones's entire season is an audition to be the long-term answer. It's now 5-1. However, the jury's still out. Jones was 19 for 27, 173 yards.
I have to say, he's not losing the game for us, but he's not like completely taking over the game and like grabbing the game by the ball. Although he does have 4 game-winning drives, so you can't fucking discount that. He leads the league in game-winning drives. So, this is so tough because they're not asking him to do a whole lot. They're winning the war up front. They're getting good push. They're getting a good rush. They're designing rushes for him. He's super athletic. Like, he's pretty accurate. He's leading the league on 3rd and 4th down, or the third and 4th quarter on the analytical stuff. So, I don't know, man. Like the stats aren't there, but you watch the game.
All right,
and
so here's the
he
evidence.
looks good.
Like I said, the evidence. Here's the evidence you have in front of you: 19 for 27, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns.
But the stats don't tell the whole story.
I'm also giving you 5-1. That's also some more of the evidence.
But wins are not a quarterback stat.
Oh, they sure are. Ask Eli
No,
Manning.
they aren't. No,
Ask
okay.
Eli Manning. You better
Okay,
believe they are.
no, I do not believe they are. I'll tell you why. I'll give you one example why. I'll give you 2 examples why. Mac Jones last year or the year before in Buffalo threw 3 passes and won the game. And it counts as a win for him. Now, hold on. Okay, the passer rating. There have been 6 or 7 or 8 inch. I can't. Somebody quote me on this. It's for the shaman, but it's 6 times or 6 games that a quarterback has had a perfect passer rating and still lost the game. If that's the case, I don't believe wins are quarterback stat. I believe they are a coach, front office, team stat.
Bullshit.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to go off a little there.
All right, let's stick with the court.
Yeah,
So
Okay.
I'm not
the evidence we have. Well, so to your point, there's a lot of evidence. The evidence is 19 for 27, 173, 2 touchdowns, QBR of 68.3, and a quarterback rating of 112.
They're just not putting the ball
And
in
5-1.
danger. Okay, they're not putting the ball in danger, and Daniel isn't throwing those like crazy deep balls. I feel like, you know what I mean. Like it's really like a lot of mid-range stuff. There's not really like any like 50-yard shots. Like, do you see any of that? Because that's one thing I'm saying. Like,
There's no one to catch him.
yeah, that's also very true. But he has time now. The pockets look good. I rewatched the game today, and the pockets, I have to say, look really good. You had Jason Pierre-Paul, who I thought would be on a revenge tour, was basically neutralized. You didn't hear his name all game.
The line definitely helped him. He was only sacked 4 times, and like I said, Neal played a little bit better. So you have 2 tackles protecting him. I'm just not sold on that. He's not getting $40 million yet. He's definitely not there. So I'm still at the point where it's a 2 or 3 year deal for a little bit less money to see if he's still the guy. That PI call in the end zone at the end of the game saved us because it was pass interference, but the ball was still a bad ball. So if that doesn't get called, it wasn't to where the receiver was, near the ball. He threw it basically to the defender. So if Marcus Peters doesn't hook the receiver, the game's over right there. It's changing. With the pick
Yeah,
at
no,
the end
for
of the
sure.
game.
No, it's just the way.
All right, so over to
the
Disciple. The
crumbles,
season
baby.
we're in today, and you're Joe Shane.
Okay.
What are you offering Daniel Jones?
2 years, $43 million, with a opt out after 2. With a 3-year deal with the opt out after 2.
I'm at 2 years, about $50 million. Because I think anything close to 20, you're going to get a no.
That's the thing. It's also the market. I mean, dude, the New York media, he hasn't made a fool out of himself. That's also a big deal here. Like, to deal with the press and, like, give the answers that he gives without, like, you know what I mean? I feel like he did learn a lot from Eli from that year they were together. But it's a part of it, and that's something that his agent's probably going to look into. Like, oh, my client deserves more because he does this, this, and that.
And if he demands a long-term mega deal,
Who's giving him that money though? If we don't, that's the thing. Like how? Like
that's the gamble.
What
That's
kind
the
of
ga-
hardball?
That's the
All
gamble.
right, so then, well, dude, he's a free agent on March 14th or whatever. Anyway, unless are you you can extend him anytime before that or during the season? Like how does that work? Is it
Yeah,
any
you can-
time
yeah,
before he's
yeah,
a
you
free
can
agent?
You can then extend him.
He might
anytime.
want to test free agency, but like, I mean, how good? Like, what kind of situation he's going to get himself in? Like, I'm not sure.
Well, the Giants still have the franchise tag, which they probably don't want to do.
They
'cause it's gonna
can't
be
use it
old.
on Daniel Jones.
They don't
No
want
way.
to. Well, if he plays great
There's
football,
no way. I'm sorry. There's no way they can do that.
not right now, but if he plays great football,
Great. What is great football?
well, if these numbers are 25 for 30 for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, well,
What's the
then
different? Yeah. Are
Yeah,
we
you
trading
could
for a wide
also-
receiver? Or are we staying the course? Like,
You could also transition
Well,
them and give yourself a
all
little
right,
protection.
let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up for the court, and we'll move on to our next segment. All right, as our favorite former defensive coordinator would say, we're on to the Jaguars. All right, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Giants head down south to Florida next week, and they lost to the Colts this weekend. Trevor Lawrence was 25 for 30, 235 yards. Robinson had 64 yards rushing, and Etienne had 20. Our old friend Evan Ingram caught 7 balls for 46 yards, and Christian Kirk made an impact with 80 yards receiving. How are you guys feeling about going down to Florida?
I feel good about it, honestly. I also feel like it's hard to win road games in the NFL. I believe actually the Giants are the only undefeated road team right now. So, I mean, we got that going for us. You also I don't want to say nothing, but I think there's going to be a personal factor. I think some of the players might be a little salty with that Doug Peterson business from a few years ago. Might want to get their revenge. I don't know. I like the matchup of Wink Martindale versus Trevor Lawrence too. I mean, you got a second-year quarterback against a defensive mastermind, in my opinion.
I think this is one of those games that, when you looked at the schedule at the beginning of the year and no one thought about us being 5-1, that you said, this is a game that we can go on the road and get a win. It's a team that we can play with and beat. So I think you got to go down there, especially now that you're playing, much better football than anyone expected, and go down there and get a win.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of we'd be turned back into a joke if we just beat the Packers and the Ravens, and then we drop a game to the Jaguars in Jacksonville. Like,
Well,
dude, they were
listen,
dressing as clowns last year, man.
well,
Nah.
listen, Jacksonville's better than we give them credit for.
Yes, absolutely. Their defense, you got Josh Allen. Like, that guy is a problem.
Let's not forget they beat the Colts 24-0.
Okay, the Colts just suck when they go to Jacksonville. Like, it's just a known fact. Bet against them every time if you're
They
into
went out to
gambling.
L.A. and they beat the Chargers 38-10.
Yeah, that's a good game. Doug Peterson's an experienced coach, man. He knows what he's doing, and their
They hung
rushing
with the
attack
Eagles.
is good.
They only lost by the Eagles to a touchdown.
They should have beat the Eagles, honestly. What a fraud Doug Peterson
right.
is for letting them win that game.
You serious?
Disciple, even for you, that was a record of flip-flops in one segment. Congratulations.
Son of a bitches.
So this team is, they're a pretty decent team. And I know it's hard to even imagine because they're the Jacksonville Jaguars. But they got a good running game. Their offensive line, they got Brandon Sheriff, who was a second-round pick for Washington. Cam Robinson's a solid left tackle.
He was a first-round pick. Actually, he was picked
Sheriff
right
was
ahead
too?
of us.
So there you
No,
go.
Sheriff was definitely like top 10. I remember the draft.
There you go. Cam Robinson, also a top pick. We got our old friend Evan Ingram, who would love to get some revenge.
Oh, no. Hold on. I want my revenge on Evan Ingram. I want Ingram to tip a pass, and I want it to be intercepted for 6 because God, he owes us at least that. Doesn't he? How many tip balls from Eli and Daniel? It's got to be at least 10 over the years.
Or he just does what he did when he was with us and
Drop.
doesn't play.
Oh, yeah.
That would be nice. But their defense is solid too. You got number 1 overall pick Trayvon Walker.
He has 12 pressures on the whole year. Kayvon Thibodeau has like 15 in 4 games. I don't want to hear it about Trayvon Walker. I think he's going to get better eventually, but he's not there yet. And I think our tackles are going to be able to take him on.
Well, you also got Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, I'm a little worried about. He does have the ability to wreck a game. I'm not that worried about Trayvon Walker yet.
With that, I'll move into 4-down territory. And this week we'll look at the top 4 things the Giants need to do to beat these Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, first down, Disciple, what do you got?
It's going to be to avoid the big win hangover. I mean, you just won 2 huge, monumental, and nationally televised one, and the one yesterday was almost nationally televised if you looked at the map courtesy of 506 Sports that does all the markets that show each game. This is huge. Those are huge wins, and you just got to avoid like the hangover from it's been a great week. All the endorphins are going, and you can't go out there and lay an egg.
Yeah, how do you do that as a coach? Because you got all these guys, all their social media feeds. Everybody's telling them they're great. Everybody's telling them they're awesome. It's easy to lose focus.
I mean, it is, but at the same time, I've got to trust our coaching staff, man. I really do. I think they know what they're doing.
All right, Tommy. What do you have for second down?
You gotta force Trevor Lawrence. They have a young quarterback too, so Daniel Jones isn't the only young quarterback that's developing. Granted, Lawrence is a highly touted prospect when he came out of Clemson, national champion. He's in a new offense. He dealt with a disastrous year with Urban Meyer last year. Get the pass rush going, make plays on first and second down, and make him make plays on third and long, which we saw this week. We had success against an MVP quarterback. So if we could force him into third and long situations, maybe force some turnovers, make him make some mistakes, put us in a good position to win.
Yeah, I think that's and that starts with stopping the run. They do have a solid running game. The Ravens ran for 200 yards. You sort of expect that from the Ravens, but I think the Giants are going to need to, really control James Robinson and Travis Etienne on those early downs. No, I think you're right. Moving on to third down. Disciple.
It would be to continue improving in the passing game. Keep keep making those big plays on third down, scoring touchdowns from the air, so you don't have to depend on the rushing attack in the red zone every time. Just keep scoring, man. That's what we need. Keep scoring from the passing game in the air, and keep the plays interesting. They're doing all these reverses and shit. Like, they look good out there, man. They look well practiced, well disciplined. Some stupid penalties sometimes, but you know what? It's translating to wins, so I can't cry about it.
Seriously, I mean, if they could improve if they could just get, I know Kadarius Toney is a lightning rod when it comes to the fans.
So much
But-
potential, though, dude. That
but
Dallas
to get
game,
him
dude.
to get him
Oh
back,
my, yeah, no,
gets his
it mean the
team-
world. A healthy him, dude. His start and stop and just like straight speed is just, it's like his play style is insane. The way he starts, stops, breaks tackles, really is. We really need him back.
All right, moving on to fourth down. Tommy, what's the fourth thing the Giants need to do to beat Jacksonville Jaguars?
You know, like we did last week, we got to continue to win the turnover battle, play plus football. You know, we take the ball away and put Daniel Jones in the offense in good positions, extra possessions. And you look last week, Thibodeau gets his first sack in a huge spot, you know, biggest play of the game, gives us the ball inside the red zone. Sexy Dexter Lawrence has looked great getting pressure from the inside. And, you know, what Wink's drawing up, putting pressure on these defenses is helping the secondary, right? You know, who thought at the beginning of the year that, you know, we'd be, you know, talking about Love, Melton, Moreau, and the job that they were doing, but we know that the pass rush improves. It makes those guys look better. It makes life easier for them. And, you know, we can put some pressure on Lawrence, make him make mistakes, turn the ball over, force some strip sacks, and, you know, win that turnover battle. And second week in a row, I think that could, you know, lead us to some extra points.
Well, it was definitely critical against Baltimore. So, yeah, let's see if they can keep it going. All right. Now we're going to move on into our next segment. Would you rather? All right. So the Giants are 5-1. They're looking like a team that can compete this season. Ahead of the trade deadline, would you rather the Giants trade for an offensive weapon or some more help on defense?
I gotta go offensive weapon, man. I don't care. I mean, it might be the missing piece right now. You know what I mean?
Depending on what's out there, I don't think we could afford money-wise like a DJ Moore.
Nah, definitely not
because
DJ Moore.
He's $6.1 million cap hit this year, and then do we want to give him $25 million in cap space next year and then give up assets? You know, I think if it's something in the line of like a Denzel Mims who's making a cap hit of 1.4, 1.5 this year and not much more next year, you know, I think that could help build up the offense a little bit, put a healthy receiver on the field, you know, a high draft pick like him, see what he could do to improve the offense. We've dealt with the Jets before under a different GM, so we know that they're willing to deal. But you know what? Another defensive playmaker that makes that pass rush better is where I think would be best, because we could take that into next year as we improve the defense and, you know, maybe add some offensive weapons in the draft and free agency next year.
Well, you stole my thunder. As the next would you rather is, would you rather DJ Moore or Denzel Mims? So you're going with Mims, disciple.
I don't think DJ Moore is going to be feasible. I don't know. You never know. You know who I might even look into? A guy that's young that never really got a chance, never really went off the ground. A guy in the Panthers, Terrace Marshall Jr. from LSU, second-round pick a year or two ago. Probably pretty cheap.
I think you get Robbie Anderson pretty cheap right now after he got kicked out of the game.
He's actually got traded to Arizona Cardinals. You missed
Did he
the
really?
news. Yeah.
I did miss the
You were
news.
sleeping.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, and it's funny because Rap Sheet Ian Rappaport tweeted like, "Oh, Dr. Robert Anderson diagnosed Marquise Brown with a non-season-ending injury," and everybody's like, "The fucking doctor's Robert Anderson, Robbie Anderson too." It was a little funny thing that happened on social media today in the NFL.
All right,
world.
so as long as we're doing a would you rather, this is in the world of hypothetical, and the Carolina Panthers are having a fire sale. Christian McCaffrey or nobody.
Get the fuck out of here. Why we do not need Christian McCaffrey. They want a first-round pick for him, which is ludicrous.
I think there's one place in New York that he can end up, and it's very close to Canada. I think Buffalo, a team that's ready to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think there's any way he ends up
Oh
with
my
the
god.
Giants.
Yeah, that'd be all. Oh my god, imagine that.
Yeah.
Well, all right. That we're gonna slide right into to our segment. What the F would that look like? Each week we will posit a hypothetical and discuss what the F the world would look like if that were to come true.
What the fuck would it look like if the Giants traded for All-Pro Christian McCaffrey?
All right. So we already talked about how ludicrous it is. However, can you imagine that backfield and what it would look like?
I mean, yes and no, but I would just be afraid that either of those guys are going to get hurt, man.
I'll tell
That's
you,
the
as
whole point.
creative,
Now you have a backup for the one that gets hurt.
as Dabes has shown he could be, and Kafka on offense, I'm sure you'd have one of them split out, one of them in the backfield, lined up together, Wildcat with Saquon. Be all kinds of stuff you could do there.
Yeah, Saquon played a little quarterback the other day, right? The Bears game, so never know what you might see.
No, that would be sick. That would be sick. You'd be putting them in motion. You'd be using them all different ways, both in the game at the same time. Both can catch balls. Both can run it up the middle. Both can go out wide. If you're going to get a weapon, if he didn't have a contract that's 3 or 4 years, I would say go get him. If he was on a contract year, and they were just like, how in baseball they trade players all the time on their contract year at the end,
Yeah.
I would definitely go get him. The problem is he's locked up for another 3 years.
Yeah, they gave him the bag.
But if you could just rent him for the next 10, 12 weeks.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I think he's going to go to a contender if he does get dealt. I'm not even sure he does get dealt, though. How old is he now? 27? Something like that? 28?
Something like that. Anyway, all right. And finally, it's time for Huge Predictions. Huge Predictions is not brought to you by Facila Automotive, but we're working on it. So if any of you know their VP of Marketing, please hit us up at bigblueallday.com. This week on Huge Predictions, we're going to give our prediction for the Week 7 matchup against Jacksonville.
I'm going with, on a player level, I think Daniel Jones is going to have a big Sunday, and he's going to hit that 300 number, 3 total touchdowns. Maybe he runs one in, throws a couple, and I'm going to go with a Giants 28-13 win.
By the way, the Giants are underdogs by what, 2.5, 3 points?
Yep. Well, I think it'd be an even line if it were a neutral site. It's one of those. It's basically a pick 'em. So my huge prediction would be that Kayvon Thibodeau goes off for 2.5 sacks and just completely blossoms in front of our eyes.
And your score?
Giants surpass 350 total yards of offense, and they win 30-13.
30-13.
Yep. That's a huge prediction, all right.
All right. My huge prediction is Dexter Lawrence is going to be the one who gets the sacks. He's going to gobble up Trevor Lawrence at least 2.5 times. I'm not as optimistic as you guys about the offense. I think the Giants will pull out a stinker, 15-12.
Jesus
silly.
Christ, 15-12.
15-12.
Sounds like a Thursday night football game.
Yeah, really. What the Russell Wilson's playing?
All right, let's not bicker over who killed who. Let's end tonight with the fact that the NFL just isn't aware. The Giants are young.
They're aggressive.
They're improving.
The New York
Football
Giants. All right, for the Disciple and Tommy, I'm Roadhouse, and we're Big Blue all goddamn day. Good night.